In India, we used to have, we're 8,000 feet up in the mountains, okay? And I remember telling you this, and maybe I showed you pictures when I came back from my visit to India a couple months ago. And because we're in a mountainous place, okay, some places have more than 100 of these steps in order for you to get to either your dorm or to your classroom or to different places. I mean, you're just, walking up and down hills and things like that. The first time I ever got there, remember I told you when I was young, I was very rotund, okay? I was very overweight to the point where I couldn't see my feet, okay? It was just not healthy for anybody, right? And so when I first got to this school, I can barely breathe on sea level, okay? Now I'm 8,000 feet up in the mountains, okay? Not only that, okay, I have a hard time running away or trying to catch my brother who's running away on flat ground. Okay, because I'm so heavy set. So he'd hit me and then he would run away because he knows I can't catch him. Doesn't matter how much oxygen I have or how much flat ground, or even if it's on a downhill, I won't be able to catch the guy. Okay? This is me, and now I'm at this school. Not only are we 8,000 feet up in the mountains, but we have hundreds of these stairs everywhere. And it's like this cruel torture, because I remember waking up from my dorm, and in order for me to eat breakfast, I have to take the 150 stairs up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm looking at this, now I went to school when I was in 6th grade, and I'm looking at these stairs and I'm like, Lord, you have a cruel, cruel sense of humor. And you know what, the only thing I could think of? Because I gotta eat, right? I gotta eat. Not like I'm looking at these stairs like, forget it. I gotta eat. Okay, how do you think I got this place, right? So I'm like, okay, one step at a time. Forget looking at the 150 that I have to climb at the moment. It's just that one at a time, okay? And then one at a time, and then one at a time. And when the more I start looking at, I still have 100 left, the more discouraged I become, and the more further away my food, source becomes, it gets further and further away. But I'm thinking let's just take one step at a time. Let's just do one step at a time, okay? When God's calling us to be His disciples and He says, give up everything, it may be very daunting for us. It might seem like, oh my gosh, where do I start? You're looking up at these stairs and you're like, oh gosh, there's a whole lot of stairs that I gotta give up. Let's start one step at a time. It's the simple obedience. It's the first yes, God, that God helps us to kind of get to the place where you're like Rocky Balboa at the end, right? You can run up the stairs and you're like, yeah, I can do this, right? I can eat this food whenever I want, no problem. Okay? We have to take one step at a time. So a couple of things, okay? Woody Allen says this. I don't know why that picture is there, and this is the only thing I could find with this quote, with the picture. I really don't know why that picture is there, okay? But Woody Allen says this, and he says 80% of success is just showing up. Right? This is one of the things that he's famous for, and he says 80% of success is just showing up. And here's the first step that I might challenge you, okay? There are many of you that are here this morning, but my challenge for us, okay, for the rest of the year, for however long, is just to show up to different things, okay? Meaning, show up to make a commitment to show up to Sunday service, make a commitment to show up to the prayer meetings, make a commitment to show up to the Bible studies, to the prayer groups, to the hangouts, whatever. Just make a commitment to show up here. And the reason why I'm telling you this is not because I'm blatantly, asking you to come to our services, but look, think about this. If you were to make a commitment starting this year, so in January of 2011, simply to come to every single Sunday service, and regardless of your situation, to not miss, and to come to each and every service, guess what you would have done with us, is that you would have gone from Mark chapter 1 to Mark chapter 8, and just for those past 6 months, you would have seen how Jesus is working through the call of what it means to be a disciple, and how much Jesus loves you. Each week, okay? If you were to make a commitment to just show up to the Bible studies for the 6 months or how many ever months, you would see throughout that time that we had together the faithfulness of God, or the different books of the Bible that's going through, and you would have learned and you would have gained that perspective without even doing so much extra. It's just showing up, making a commitment to be there. So whether it's the morning time when it's time to pray, whether it's a Bible study, whether it's the fellowship house church service, Make a commitment to just be there. You know, and it sounds simple, but I totally understand the commitment that is involved, especially now that we have kids. Right? I mean, our kids are still young, but I can't even imagine what it's like when they start becoming, you know, little men running around, right? They need to go to soccer, they need to go to basketball, go to ballet, you know, whatever else they need to go to, and all the different schedules that's caught up for us to have to work on weekends and have to serve and do different things. But you know what? If you're really going to take this seriously, that Jesus is saying, hey, make the first step. Let me challenge you. Maybe the first step is just to make a commitment to show up. Okay, whatever that is. You know, whether it's the services, the Bible studies, the prayer groups, the fellowships. The other thing that that I thought of, and for us, and this past week, our college group ended our 1-month Bible study, and as we were closing, one of the things that we were talking and discussing was how much, you know, we went around, we were, you know, taking some time to think about this, and we said, how much money do we spend on small luxuries per week and per month that we could give up and, you know, save? How much money would that be? Okay, so simple luxuries, things like that can give up, like coffee, going to the movies, or, you know, going out to eat, whatever it was. I said, each person, why don't you kind of think about how much you would save per month, and let's think about how much. We had a group of about 10 people, 8 to 10 people, and say, let's see how much we can come up in 1 month. Okay, the 8 to 10 of us simply giving up coffee, going to the movies, going to you know, going out to eat. Now these are luxuries. It's not necessities, luxuries. The 10 of us, we found out that we could give up $1,400 a month. $1,400 a month. Just on simple luxuries that we could give up. Okay, not the necessities like gas, paying your insurance, you know, things like that, but luxuries. Okay, $1,400. That was 8 to 10 of us. And here's what we were talking about. What would it be like if for the next year, if all of the young people, and I'm not talking about people that have full-time jobs, I'm talking about young college students, people that have just graduated college, if we made a commitment to give up our luxuries for a year, and if 8 to 10 of us can save $1,400, we have a group of about 30 to 35, maybe even 40 college students altogether. If the young people in this church can make a commitment like that, we would raise $20,000 in 1 year. Not $2,000, $20,000 in 1 year, just by giving up coffee, movies, going out to eat. Let me put that in perspective to you. The entire country of Bangladesh, an average person in a year will make $120. $20,000 that we could raise as young people, when there are people around the world that are working 70, 80 hours a week to make $120 a year. And I was challenging them, how amazing would it be, and what kind of a testimony would it be if our young people raised $20,000 and we were to build a school in a country like that, or a hospital, or somebody a house. Because it's not coming from people that have full-time jobs, right? It's not coming from people who have excess money to say, oh, here's a couple $100, here's a couple thousand. It's coming from young people that are willingly giving up something. That was the challenge that we were thinking about, okay? That was something that we were thinking, maybe we can even adopt or help build something for an orphanage. These are all different things that we were talking about. You know, as a church, as Lighthouse Christian Fellowship, this is the question that I was thinking about this morning, is if all of us, old, young, mature, immature, whatever it is, if all of us were to make this commitment to say, God, I hear this call to be a disciple, which means not to always just think about me and my comforts and what I want and what makes me happy, what gives me pleasure, but it's more about serving others, loving those as much as I love myself. If I were to give up these things for 1 year, make a pledge, how many thousands of people would be helped in 1 year? So it's just a thought, and this is something that we talked about, and this is something that I said to our young people that I would bring up for the next couple of weeks through email, through our messages, through our get-togethers. We'd talk about it, and I'm really going to challenge us to think about this, because I think, you know, it would be not only life-changing for the people that receive it, but for us that are making that sacrifice. And it's a small step. It's not like Jesus is asking us to empty up our bank accounts and saying, now, give up everything. What I feel like God is saying is, it's the luxuries. It's the luxuries. It's not even the necessities, the luxuries. So let's continue to pray and think about these things, okay? Because when Jesus is challenging and speaking to us, he's not just saying as this superhuman being, as if it's easy for him, as if it doesn't mean anything, it's not going to cost him anything. It cost Jesus everything. It cost him his life. It cost him every ounce of his energy, his soul, his being, to be able to follow through what he did for us. And each and every week he says, look, can you do the same? Can you start? Can you take that first step? Can you show up? Can you think about sacrificing your luxuries, not even your necessities, the things that you enjoy, pamper yourself with, the things that you can very well go without for the sake of you? Can you really love your neighbor as much as you love yourself? And I think this is what God is calling us the next couple of weeks. So let's think about that, and let's be in prayer. Let's pray.